welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 87, 7 Principles for an Awesome 2016. I'm your guide, Tara Swiger, and I help makers become their own best business experts. And one of the ways we do that is to notice where you're overwhelmed and take some action to remedy it. So today we're going to talk about what you can do to move forward from overwhelmed to energize and actually work and make momentum in your business in 2016. It's getting to be the end of the year, and that's what everybody is thinking about, is how can I make my business awesome next year. But before we dive in, I just want to let you know that if you're listening to this on the day it's released, December 23rd, 2015, this is the very last day you can join Liftoff until next June. So you can go to taraswiger.com/lift to read more about what that is and to sign up. And that's going to help you make your year the best ever. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that this week I am on Tiffany Hahn's podcast. It's called Raise Your Hand, Say Yes, if you don't already listen to it. And she interviews entrepreneurs and creatives and makers. And we just had a great conversation. We talked about launching and the songs I psych myself up with before I start recording a podcast episode. So if you'd like to know the playlist of what I listen to before I record these, you can go listen at Tiffany Hahn's podcast, Raise Your Hand, Say Yes. That should have come out this week. So let's get to making 2016 awesome, all right? I'd like to ask, how are you doing, really, right now? Do you feel energized and enthusiastic and just great about your business? Do you feel clear-eyed and action-oriented? Or are you frustrated or stuck or overwhelmed by all the things you think you should be doing in your business? If you feel great, that is awesome. Yay! Go on about your day. You do not need to listen to this podcast episode. If you are feeling super inspired and enthusiastic and ready to take action in your business, go take action in your business. Go work on your business right now. But if you're not feeling awesome about where your business is, I want to help. And in fact, I've spent the last 6 years thinking about how I can help makers with their business and what are the few things that are the most effective, because there's a lot of things that are a little bit effective, but I know that we all have limited time and energy, and we need to work on just a couple things that are super effective. So the question I'm always wondering whenever I work with anyone is, what is going to move you, and really all of us, from overwhelmed to enthusiastic with your business so that you will take action? Because feeling enthusiastic and energized has to come before you actually do stuff. So we talk about how to avoid overwhelm in episode 85, and I shared the 3 kinds of overwhelm and how to defeat them. But what's the step beyond overwhelmed? How do you move away from overwhelmed and towards actually doing stuff? That's what we're going to talk about today. So if you want to feel awesome in your new year and actually create a business you'll love, I have 7 principles that I've boiled down throughout the years. I'm always kind of thinking about these and adding to them. And this is what's going to make your business great, and this is what's going to make your year great. Principle 1, you get to, and in fact, you have to decide what you want from your business. Because without this clarity, you're not going to be able to choose the right strategy and tactics to create a business you love. Now, in a recent podcast episode, I explained the difference between mission, strategy, and tactics. Mission is the thing that has to come first. It is the where am I going? In military speak, this is like what is our mission? What are we here for? The strategy is in how you're going to go about completing the mission. That's what tools are you going to use? What customers are you going to sell to? Where are you going to sell? And the tactics are actually the things you do. They're actually the to-do list items. So you need to be first clear on your mission, because without that kind of clarity, you're never going to know what tactics will get you towards your mission. You're never going to know the strategies that will get you towards your mission. You got to have your mission first, because a bunch of tactics, yeah, they might move the needle in different ways, but that doesn't mean they're moving you towards the kind of business you want. And everybody wants a different kind of business. So you have to be clear on this for yourself first in order to make any real progress towards that business. So if you are feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling really lost, I want you to check this first. This is the first check before any of the other principles. Ask yourself, what do I want for my business? Am I clear about my mission? Am I clear about where I'm going? So you want to make sure you've clarified your goals and mapped out your path. That's principle number 1. You get to and you have to decide what you want from your business in order to get there. Principle number 2, and this is a hard one for me as an introvert, but you can't do it alone. You need not just blog posts and books, you need real live people to share what you've gone through and to hear from them what's worked for them. I wish that it was possible to just read everything you possibly need to know, but the fact is books take a long time to get to market. Even blog posts are often written months after something's happening. Having real live people talking to you about what they're going through and about what they're learning is the best thing for your business. And not just them talking to you, because remember, you have a different business mission than they do, but you talking to them and getting their feedback and hearing that you're not alone, hearing that you're not crazy, hearing that what you're going through is perfectly normal for a business doing what you're doing. So if you're feeling really lost or really down on yourself for where you're at right now, check for this principle. If you're just consuming a lot of information, if you're just reading a lot of blogs, listening to a lot of podcasts, which by the way, thanks for that, but if that's all you're doing and you're not taking action, then this might be the thing that helps you. Actually talking to people about what you're gonna do and them holding you accountable, which is a future principle. So if you are just consuming a lot of info, the question to ask yourself is, are you sorting through it? Are you digging in to who it worked for? Are you really thinking about what kind of business it worked? So an example of this is I read a great post about growing your Pinterest following, and it was actually written by a friend of mine, and she'd emailed me about the article and we emailed back and forth. So I said, do you mind me asking, how has this actually helped? And she's like, oh no, it's totally taken me to a zillion Pinterest followers. And I said, great, and do you see increased traffic to your site from that? And she said, no, not at all. No increased traffic, no increased sales. So I was like, okay, so that's interesting. So it's not that her tactics weren't good, it's that they weren't for the kind of business I'm building, where I want Pinterest followers to lead to actual traffic to my site and actual sales. And so you need to do this with all information as much as possible. You need to look at what you're hearing and ask, does this apply to me? Are they talking to my kind of business? And is this person who's saying, I did this and it worked, are they building the same kind of business I am? Doesn't mean you can't get great information from a lot of places. And a great example of this is I love the show Shark Tank. Now those people are building businesses totally different than mine. They're usually selling like a product that they're gonna have made in a factory somewhere, and they're gonna have it outsourced, and they're gonna have factories all over the world. Now that's not my kind of business, but I learn all kinds of business lessons watching that show. So you can learn a lot of lessons from different sources, but you always wanna ask, how does this apply to me? And who is this talking? Who is this saying that I should do this? How is their business different or similar to mine? So that's why thinking about the real people behind both the blog posts and podcasts you listen to, and thinking about the real people that you can meet in your own community who can share what it's like in their business, because you're going to get a lot more deep, detailed, behind the scenes information by meeting people in real life and talking to them. So principle number 3, all of that said, no one can tell you what to do. The best creative businesses are built on a combination of what you want, what you are great at, and what your customers want. And no two people have the same equation. When you overlap those Venn diagrams of what you want, what you're great at, and what your customers want from you, everybody's Venn diagram looks different. Everybody comes up with a different business when they put those equations together. So no one can tell you what to do. I can say this is what worked for me. I can say this is what worked for 100 of my students, but that doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. So that's principle number 3. Nobody can tell you what to do. Number 4, you need accountability to get stuff done. Period, end of story. You need accountability to get stuff done. I talk more about this in episode 73, and I shared my own story of forgetting all about accountability. But all of us, no matter your personality type, no matter how you work with people, you are so much more likely to reach a goal when someone else is in on it, when someone else knows about it and is encouraging you. So you can listen to episode 73 where I actually talk about studies that have shown why accountability works, and when I talk about how to make accountability work for you. But that is the 4th principle. You need accountability to get stuff done. So if you find that you know what to do, you know what you want to do, you're clear on those first 3 principles, but you're not doing stuff, look at accountability. Do you have someone else who's expecting you to do the things you said you were going to do? Now, a lot of people tell me, I'm afraid to tell anybody else about my goals. I'm afraid to tell anybody else about what I'm working on because what if I don't complete it? What if I fail? What if they judge me? Because it takes a while. So you gotta make sure you're choosing people that are good accountability partners for you, often who also have small businesses and so who they know what it takes. You also want to recognize that that fear of failure, and so you're not telling anyone, it's also holding you back in a bunch of other places. If you are too afraid to tell someone your goal for fear that you might fail and fall on your face, you're probably also pretty afraid of actually taking action because you might fall on your face. So that's something you need to start confronting and dealing with and actually saying out loud what you want to do with your business. It's going to make it easier for you to take the actions. And in fact, knowing other people are waiting on you to take those actions are going to make you a lot more likely to do it. So that's principle number 4, is you need accountability. Principle number 5 is, you have got to be profitable. And going along with that, you have to know your numbers. You need to know your profit margins for each product and your break-even point. You need to know your income and your expenses every month. If you don't, you have no way of knowing what to spend your time and energy on. If you don't know what it takes for your business to be profitable and you don't know month to month if your business is profitable, you have no way of knowing how you should spend your time. Because after getting clear on what you want and deciding where you want to go and telling somebody to hold you accountable, what do you do in your business day to day? What are the goals? What are the actions you should take? Well, you're only going to know if you know the numbers. So not only do you need to be profitable, but in order to be profitable, you need to know your numbers. Now, principle 6 is you must speak clearly and coherently about your work to your right people. Now, this is a process and it's never going to be done. You're always going to be working on it. You're always going to be improving this. So deep breaths. If hearing that just made you really anxious, it's okay. And that said, you always need to be working on this. This always needs to be on your mind. Am I, in this blog post, in this Instagram post, in this Twitter post, am I speaking to the people who love what I make and are willing to buy it? Or am I speaking to my peers? Or am I speaking to my mom? And now, even if you don't have followers, you get followers on all the social media places by first speaking to the people who you would like to be your followers. In other words, the people who are going to buy your thing. So yes, maybe it is just your mom watching your Instagram right now, but if you start speaking and sharing the kind of work that your right people are going to be interested in, and you start blogging about the topics that your right people are going to be curious about, then that is the first step to them coming and actually reading it. So you've got to be talking to your right people at every step, even if you don't know who they are yet, even if you feel kind of fuzzy about it, even if you haven't made any sales yet. And with that in mind, let me say this. I was just talking to a Starship captain who was saying that she had a revelation that this whole talk to your right people thing, she'd been reading about it and hearing about it for a long time, and it stressed her out. She thought, oh no, I don't know that enough. I'm not doing enough. But in fact, she knew them super well. She was talking to them all the time on Instagram because they were leaving her comments all the time. They were subscribing to her newsletters and hitting reply. They were people she was interacting and following and stalking on Instagram. And so she did in fact know who they were, but she thought that there was something else, like that there's some official form you fill out to say, I am now clear on my right person. Instead, it's a series of conversations throughout the life of your business. You're going to be having those conversations hopefully every day or every week with new people as you get to know them better, as they buy more stuff from you, as they participate more in your social media channels. So you're always going to be learning. You're never going to have a set, okay, I know who you are, all done. Instead, you're going to be learning and talking to them and learning from them. But that has to be one of your focuses, that you speak clearly and coherently about your work to your right people. So now that brings us to the last principle. And the last principle is regular review is the only way to know if you're making progress. Looking at what goal you set, what you've done to reach it, and what progress you've made, that's the only way for you to become your own best business expert. That's the only way for you to know what's working in your business so you can decide what to do next. So you want to check in each month on your main metrics And what I mean by main metrics are the things that matter to you, the measurable things that matter to you. So for many of us, that's sales. For others, that might be traffic or shares or retweets. But if you are running a business and you need to be more profitable, probably the metric you want to track in the beginning is sales. How much money is flowing into your business and how much money is flowing out of it. So you need to be tracking the metrics that matter to you each month and then adjusting course as needed. People often get stuck in the planning stage because they feel like their plan has to be perfect. It doesn't. Your plan just has to get you started so that you know what to work on each day for the next week. Then you can reassess and make a new plan going forward. And as long as you're really clear on that principle number 1, on your mission, your overarching where you're going, your individual tactics are going to change all of the time, but only if you regularly review what's working and what's not working. I hope that makes sense. So the 7 principles are: 1, you get to and you have to decide what you want from your business. 2, you can't do this alone. 3, no one else can tell you what to do. You need to decide that for yourself based on the business you most want. 4, you need accountability to get stuff done. 5, you have to be profitable. 6, you have to be clearly and coherently talking about your work to your right people. And 7 is regular review is the only way to know if you're making progress. And yes, you can do a lot of this on your own. In fact, you can get a lot of encouragement and regular mini lessons and inspiration sent from me for free by subscribing to my weekly email lessons at taraswiger.com/list, by listening to my podcast, which you're doing right now, by watching me on Periscope, which some people are right now because I broadcast these live to Periscope. I happily give away 90% of my best material to help you in your business. And I joyfully write up class quality lessons in emails and podcasts each week, and I make it available completely for free because I want you to succeed. I want you to know what you need to do in order to run a business based on your passion that you really, really love. I want to share all the lessons with you that I've learned in my own business and the business of my clients and my students. And that's enough for a big percentage of my readers and listeners. They're happy to get the information, to get the encouragement, to go at their own pace because that's where they are in their journey. But if you want to move beyond just consuming the advice and the education and you want to put it into action, and if you want to create a specific actionable plan, not from someone else's blueprint, but based on your own goals, and if you're committed to making real change in your business this year, then I think you should check out Liftoff. Because Liftoff is going to walk you through creating the principles we've talked about here. It is going to help you get clear on your mission. It is going to help you make a plan for the very next steps so that you always know what to do. It's going to give you some filters for you to use when you are talking to other people, for you to decide, oh, that doesn't work well for me. Yeah, that does work well for me. This is what I want. So you can filter through everything you hear from outside information. And it's also going to help you get really clear on your profitability, on your marketing plan, and on your own best workday. So if you would like to check that out, go to taraswiger.com/lift today because it closes on December 23rd and it won't open again until mid-June. So check it out, and in the meantime, if Liftoff is not for you, if you're one of the 90% of students and listeners who the podcast is plenty enough to inspire you to take action in your business and you feel like you're taking action all on your own, that is awesome. I'm so glad to have you here. I so appreciate you listening and you being a part of my year. And since it's towards the end of the year, I want to thank you for making my year just awesome. This podcast and Periscope have been my most favorite business projects this year, by far. So I'm super happy to have you here. And I hope if you enjoy the podcast, you will leave a review on iTunes. I just recently realized I had new reviews there. It made my whole week. So if you want to do that and you listen on iTunes, you can click through and leave a review. And with that, I just want to thank you. I want to wish you a very enthusiastic day, a super happy holiday season. I hope you are taking time off and you're resting and you are refilling your enthusiasm. Thank you so much and have a great, great day.